mean, what is it that you bring to them that kind of brings the old and the new together in a fresh way and essentially freshens it up for today?
I love working with these brands and collaborating on these different ideas. And, I think each one is kind of specific to the scope of work that they're looking for, or the different product or project that they're working on. So, they'll approach me with this idea, and, what can we come up with, and how should we approach this, or things like that. So,
Uh-huh.
it's one of those fine lines of mixing old and new. And,
Yeah.
I've kind of drawn from my experiences at the restaurant, when these brands ask me, but it's just fun to play around with ideas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's
uh,
great that they invite you to play around with them for new
yeah,
ideas.
yeah. So most recently with Galbani, we did, they wanted me to use their fresh mozzarella.
Uh-huh.
So I was all in favor of that, but we did a chicken Milanese sandwich, right? So kind of an old school favorite, but then we put a little, modern twist on it with the tomato jam to kind of contrast the mozzarella, and then
Mm.
we added some, peppery arugula on top. So it's always fun, and it all depends upon the project and the product. So
Are those recipes that when you come up with something like that, do they go on your menu at the restaurant, or are they things that they like put in their advertising and do photos of and stuff?
yeah, they'll do the advertising. It's on all the social media pages, so it'll be on Galbani's page. It's on my pages, everything like that. Sometimes some of them do make an appearance on the restaurant menu. It all depends. But for instance, the sandwich, we're fine dining. White tablecloths, tuxedo clad waiters, so we don't necessarily have the sandwiches on the menu. But most
Oh, okay.
recently, 2 weeks ago, I was on Fox 5 making pasta pizzelle. So that's on the specials menu, for the next couple of weeks, so people can kind of experience that and enjoy it. So some dishes make it, some dishes we save for another day.
It's having never been to the restaurant, and I may be one of the only people left, on the East Coast who never went to the restaurant. But, so is it a lunch and dinner hours, or is it only, dinner hours?
Lunch and dinner. Lunch
So,
and dinner.
and even at lunchtime, it's still fine dining.
Yeah. People come in, uh, I want a salad and a pasta fagioli. I don't think they're having veal valdostano at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but
Right,
some
right.
people do. And I think that's one of the beauties, kind of us and our menu, is you can come in and there's so many different routes that you could go. You could have, a simple 2-course lunch, or come for dinner and have a 5, 6, 7-course meal if you want it.
But then when you open, during the summer, do the sort of the festival days and the, garden days, there's other things on the menu besides what you serve in the restaurant then?
Yeah, so for the pizza garden, there's obviously the pizza. We'll do a couple different variations, but the classic one that everybody loves is the margarita. So that's on the menu, and then we also have, this was my Aunt Ray's idea, which I thought was awesome. We are close friends with the Brennan and Carr crew in Sheepshead Bay, and they've been around for forever as well. I've got a picture of my grandmother as a kid outside Brennan and Carr getting a roast beef sandwich. But
Oh, yeah.
when back in the day, we used to have tons of cousins, tons of family, and everything like that working in the restaurant. So they used to go there on Sunday nights and, play some cards, have a couple beers, and then roast beef sandwiches. So my Uncle Louis one time goes, I want a cheeseburger, but the burger, roast beef, and cheese. Take the whole thing. And he didn't like their buns back in the day. So he used to bring a couple loaves of Italian bread from the restaurant, slice them open, layer them with the burger, put the roast beef, put the cheese, take the whole thing, and then dunk it in the au jus. So they used to make those, and then it just became, okay, I need, the guys in Brendan and Carr were saying, I need 4 Gargiulo burgers. I need 6 Gargiulo burgers. I need 8 Gargiulo burgers. And then they approached my uncles and said, can we put this on the menu? And they put it on the menu, and that's been a staple and a big hit for them over the years.
That's
But
perfect. cross marketing and cross, you know,
Yeah, exactly.
that's
So
awesome. That's great.
we put Gargiulo burger sliders on the Pizza Garden menu. And we only serve those outside for the Pizza Garden, but it's a piece of New York history or Brooklyn history,
Yeah.
and everybody kind of loves them. So there are those types of specific menu items out there.
Before I forget, I got to go back to this thing you were saying about your Irish friends. Have they ever come now to
Oh yeah,
experience
all the time,
your especially the summer pizza gardens and the festival that you do?
all the time.
So has your friendship, again, being now generations into this, and you've done something that maybe the earlier generations didn't do, which was to cross pollinate with people from other cultures, yeah. And so have they influenced there's a lot going on in Irish cuisine, for instance, and are there other culinary influences besides what you grew up with that are kind of working their way into your repertoire?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say necessarily Irish cuisine is leaning in
That's a tough,
into
that's a tough crossover, huh?
into my repertoire. One night we were at a bar, we were having a couple drinks, and one of our friends was coming to meet us, and he grabbed some dinner at the bar and he ordered lasagna. Now you're in an Irish bar, and I'm saying, all right, you're ordering lasagna, fine. Comes out and there's a side of coleslaw with it, and I went to my friend. I said, "Please tell me you're joking me, right?"
Like your head's about to explode.
And my friend Huey goes, "You never heard of that? Lasagna and coleslaw?" I said, "You're really kidding me, right?" And there might have been a few other profanity laced words in there as well, but
But
he goes,
they weren't kidding you? This was
no, they weren't kidding. He turns to me, he goes, "That's an Irish classic." And meanwhile, my other buddies who were there go, "Are you kidding me? We love that. Like, that's Irish comfort food." And I was like, "Oh my God, you just put the knife in my heart and twist." Like, um, so yeah, I don't think there's many Irish recipes or influence in my cuisine, but I will say, being in the industry and, even though they're working in bars and I'm more working in the restaurant, just the connection that we have and kind of the experiences that we share and, just being able to go out, have a drink after work with them and, they kind of understand what I'm going through and they understand or I understand what they're going through. And they're just awesome guys. And, I couldn't be more fortunate to have them. And, we're all on the same schedule, really, where
yeah,
after college and I graduated, and was working full time,
yeah.
my friends from college would say, come out on Friday, Saturday night and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm working. Like, I can't go out, and if I can go out, it's going to be 2, 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that, where, you know, with these guys, they understand and I am on the same schedule with them. So, but it's just, it's almost like what Sebastian Maniscalco said. It's the same company, just different divisions.
Yeah, right. There you go. There you go.
So
Well, that
we live and breathe the same, way and
yeah.
think the same way, but these guys are just the best. And then as far as other cuisines, I'm always looking to see what other people are doing, kind of push the envelope. How are they continuing to improve themselves or
Uh-huh.
touch upon different cuisines and improve them? So I just love keeping an eye on all those things and watching people grow and succeed in the same space that I'm in.
How do you, continue to develop and hone your craft as a chef, your artistic, culinary skills? Are there places you go or, outside of the, of the company, of the family where you can go for, sort of to push your own boundaries?
Yeah, there's definitely a bunch of places. Elio's in the Upper East Side is definitely one of them. That's always a favorite that I love to go and enjoy because they're old school too, family run like us. Lately, I love Resdora by Stefano Secchi. I think what he does with his fresh pastas is just amazing, and I haven't been able to get to his new one, Masara, that's been open a couple years now, but
Mm.
dying to check that one out. And there's so many places, like you said, there's so many on the list that I would love to get to and check out. But I think the other thing too is, in this era of social media, there's so much out there that you can kind of absorb, and there's so much knowledge.
Yeah.
So, always keeping an eye out for that, and checking out dishes. And I think the best thing about the social media too is I can still see kind of what's happening in Italy, what's going on in Naples, what's going on in Rome, in Milano, and
Yeah.
watching what dishes they're coming up with or working on, or, who's running this special, or, wow, that's an interesting take on that. How can I adapt that to what we're doing?
Yeah, it's amazing access to what's going on in the world wasn't
Yeah,
available to the people in earlier generations like
right.
you have it now.
Yeah.
Well, before we run out of time, I got to go back to where we started with this, which is, you are the keeper of your family's cannoli recipe. We that seemed to be something as part of your bio that you're known for. So, what is it about the cannoli? Can you give our listeners kind of a tip on what makes for a great cannoli, and are there any little things that you are allowed to share from the family recipe that kind of defines yours?
Yeah. I'm all about balance, right? So you want a great shell that's a vessel for a great cream. So that crispy kind of exterior, but ours isn't as heavy and dense as maybe a normal Sicilian shell. It's a little bit lighter, and airier, and for that, we stuff every cannoli that we serve in the restaurant to order. So nothing's prepared ahead of time.
Uh-huh.
But it's that kind of light, airy, but yet crispy and crunchy shell, and this delicate cream that, has the right flavor, but it's not too sweet. It's just sweet enough. So it's all about kind of balance and consistency.
Is that filling consisting of cream and ricotta, or what? I mean, there's different ways I've seen cannolis made. What's the sort of, you know, combination that establishes your cream?
So what I can tell you
Yeah, before you
is
kill me. Yeah.
there's definitely ricotta in there, and there's definitely sugar. Uh,
Okay.
but I'll go as far as that is
Okay.
concerned. But,
And and going back to the shell, because I love cannoli shells. Basically, what, who doesn't love fried dough? And a crispy fried dough. It's like, and it's an egg roll. But is that's something that took, the restaurant family a long time to develop and perfect, or is it something that's constantly being sort of tweaked, or when did you nail it?
yeah, it's definitely not being tweaked. I can tell you
Nothing
that.
saging there. Yeah.
And nothing changes. So I learned from our cousin Mike the Bake, and he was the pastry chef
Wait, what?
in
What was his name?
Mike the Bake.
Mike the Bake. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
His last name. No one will ever know his last name, but we know him as the Mike the Bake.
His real name was Michele De Rosa, but everybody knew him as Mike the Bake.
Mike the Bake.
So he was the pastry chef in the restaurant for 40 plus years. And when I started full time, right after I graduated, he was semi retired. So he would come in just on Mondays to do the cheesecakes, the cannolis, and then whatever else kind of, was going on. He'd help out in as far as holiday desserts or specialties like that. So obviously, being gravitated toward the kitchen, I said to myself, when he retires, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, we're not going out and we're not buying, you know, cheesecake. We're not buying cannolis, or we're not doing that. So
Right.
we got to learn. So I said, I want to learn from Mike. Right. And obviously, not only are you learning the recipes and things like that, but it was Mike the Bake. Like,
Yeah.
he was just incredible at what he did. So I said, I'm going to learn. And I stuck by his side, and Mike, I want to learn. Okay, no problem. Right. So if we were making anything in the beginning, he would put one ingredient in the bowl and then go take a lap around the kitchen and talk to somebody for 5-10 minutes. And I'd stay by the stand mixer. He'd come back in, he'd put the next ingredient, do the same exact thing, and go talk to somebody else. Now, this was months of that. Then all of a sudden, he was putting all the ingredients into the bowl in front of me, but there was really minimal conversation. He was just putting it in, and that was months. And then all of a sudden, it was, and he was in this country for a long time, but still very broken English. Screeb, write down, uh, 10 eggs, a scoop of sugar. And like a scoop of sugar is this. It's not a cup or, this
Right, right.
scoop of flour, this much. So that was a couple months. And then it was all of a sudden, this happens because, and this happens why. And if you put too much of this in, this could happen. And slowly but surely, we were working side by side with one another. And, I learned all of his kind of baking recipes and things of that nature.
Mm.
And then the holiday recipes, like with Carnevale coming up, we make the pizza rustica. With Easter coming up, we make the pastira. So all of those kind of recipes throughout the year. And then Monday night in the restaurant was always guys' night. It was me, my uncles, a couple friends. They'd come in, we'd have a drink at the bar, a soup or a dish of pasta, main course, dessert and coffee, and then, see everybody later. But Monday night was always guys' night. So Mike would cook for all of us. So after baking, we'd hop on the line, and, he really taught me then the recipes and how to work on the line there too. So I was getting all the information, directly from him that nobody had ever got before. And then when my cousins found out, they were like, "Are you kidding me? I've worked with this guy for 4 years. He never gave me anything. All of a sudden you show up and you're getting everything."
Well, you're like the anointed one.
Yeah, but I think we just had such a special bond and relationship, and I think he recognized and realized my passion and that I really wanted to learn and kind of keep his legacy alive. And
That's one that's so beautiful with great memories, the Monday
yeah,
nights and everything. But also, I mean, he made you earn it. He made you work for it.
oh, that's for
He
sure.
didn't just give it to you. You earned. You were his. He was your mentor. He was your.
Yeah.
You were his protege. But it's a rare gift, and I think that the other members of the family didn't pay that price, and you did.
Well, he was just an incredible talent and somebody to look up to. So I was so fortunate to get to learn from him. And I always say my grandfather is the one that instilled the passion in me. And Mike the Bake was the one that took me kind of to where I am today.
Well, maybe someday there'll be a young, up and comer in the family there saying, "I want to study with Uncle Matthew to bake." I want to learn how he makes this. How?
It,
'Cause are you still the one who makes all the cannoli? Do you have other people?
yep,
Yeah.
no,
Wow.
I'm the only one.
It's all
And
you. Wow.
it's the same way, some people try and ask, "Oh, what's in there?" Or, "How do you do that?"
Yeah.
And I'll give them the same answer that I got. If you want to learn, you got to watch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you really want to learn, I'm willing to teach somebody, if they're showing me the same kind of passion and willingness to do what I did.
Yeah. And the
You'll
patience.
get those stuff.
They gotta have the patience that you brought because you didn't demand to know it all in one sitting.
Right. That's for
You
sure.
earned every little drop of ricotta that you put in
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
Well, Chef Matthew Cutolo, it's been wonderful talking with you and hearing these stories. What great memories you have, and I certainly hope and pray that you'll be able to continue, this legacy in the generations to come, and find a few other people that kind of pop up within the family, or who bring to you the same passion that you brought to Mike the Bake and the rest of your family members. And thank you for keeping Gargiulos alive for all of us. And now over 120 years or so. I guess you're coming up on the 120th anniversary pretty
Yeah,
soon.
we're coming up 119 this year. Next year will be 120.
Wow, with many more to go. And again,
Absolutely.
thank you so much for sharing your stories and your passion. And for those of you who are New Yorkers, you already know where Gargiulos is. But for those who are not, or are listening to this from around the country, but are headed to New York, can you give a couple quick ways for them to track you down? You've got a website, you've got an Instagram. What are some of the socials for them?
Yeah. So the restaurant, obviously, www.gargiulos.com. And then all our socials are at Gargiulos Restaurant. And if you want to follow me too, everything is at Matthew Cutolo. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, you name it, you'll find me.
Well, congratulations on all the things that you've been doing, all your success, but mostly I really envy those family stories that you experience, sitting at the table on Monday night and having just the love of a large extended family like that. And and everything that it's brought your way. So, and thanks for keeping that going.